Yan, kasi actually almost 35, I think, signed up for the webinar. So maybe we're just waiting for some, but we'll start already because it's already 10:30. And so good morning to everybody. Basically the reason why I approached Taxumo and Ginger is because I've been getting a lot of questions about well, yung trigger is really the BIR policy or the announcement that online sellers have to declare their sales already. Tama, 'di ba? Yun yung ano. It's not applicable to me because ever since the business has already been registered and, we've been functioning as a real corporation for over 15 years already. Yan. So, the reason why I did this, why I approached Ginger and Taxumo is because a lot of e-commerce clients or clients na gumagawa ng soaps, perfumes, who started in Shopee are now parang nangangapa, where do they start? So, I approached Ginger. Thank you so much, Ginger, for um allowing this free seminar, 'di ba? Kasi it's not easy to get someone who would give this webinar for free. And I'm super, super thankful. And then on behalf of those who signed up also, we're grateful that you are doing this for us. Kasi a lot of them are, yun nga, confused and they don't know where to start pa. Yan, especially in registering the business and of course also complying with the BIR requirements. So ayan, I'll just introduce Ginger and Taxumo briefly. So Ginger is one of the founders of Taxumo with her husband. Tama, di ba? Yan. And then Taxumo is basically an end-to-end DIY tax assistance system for small businesses and professionals. Ayan. So I guess who would be better to describe Taxumo than Ginger? Ginger, take it away.
All right. Hi, everyone. Good morning. Maybe you can say hi in the chat box so that we know lang that you're here and alive, awake, and enthusiastic about this workshop. No? So, there. Thank you. Thank you for saying hi. Hi, Stefan. Hi, Ronaldin. Thank you. Hi, Summer. So, I think we have around 14 people here in this call. No? So, well, first of all, kudos to you for being here because not a lot of people would really take time out to learn about taxes. Trisha, Armin, Jenna. So thankful kami that you're here. So we'll be going through some things about I know napadala ni Bernadette yung exactly not the most exciting topic, the outline for this workshop, but allow me to sort of like break it down a little bit later on, no? And then if you have any questions about any part of the presentation, please feel free to put it in the chat box. I may not be able to see it right away and engage, no, after you put that question, but later on we'll go through them after the presentation. And I highly suggest that please take down notes because there are a lot of things. I know my intention is not to overwhelm you, but I have to give you a lot of details. So it's best to like take down notes during the presentation as well kasi magko-quiz tayo after. Char, hindi, joke lang. Okay, let's go. Okay, so let me introduce myself first. So I'm Ginger Arboleda. I'm the co-founder of Taxumo. So we are four co-founders in the company. We've been in the industry since 2016. So we are a SaaS company, software as a service. So we are not a professional service, no? Maybe a lot of you think na parang, okay, since accounting to and taxation, maybe they're like a firm, no? Where people like do their tax filings. No, we're not that. We are a software. So what we have is what our product is basically a software that allows you to automate the preparation, filing, and payment of taxes. So that's Taxumo. I'm also the CEO of Manila Workshops. Manila Workshops is an events management company in the Philippines, although we focus more on B2B. So what we do is we create lifestyle workshops for BPOs, government agencies, etc. I'm also a content creator. So I'm on TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook. So normally I talk about business and finance. My two passions, aside among many other passions. No? So Our mission in Taxumo, today we're gonna talk about more of Taxumo, diba? Taxation. So our mission in Taxumo is basically to help out in UN's 2 SDG goals. I'm not sure if you know about SDGs, but these are Sustainable Development Goals of UN, of the United Nations. One is number 8, which is to have decent work for everybody. No? So what we envision is we want to empower MSMEs, self-employed professionals, and freelancers to basically grow their business and professions so that they will create jobs for people in their communities. So that's how we intend to help with SDG goal number 8 and also SDG goal number 9, which is industry innovation and infrastructure. We've seen that there are a lot of red tape, no, bureaucracy happening in the government, and we want to sort of eliminate all of the corruption happening. And one way to do that is by automating most of the processes talaga in the government. And we took the role of helping automate the taxation process, no, at least for the small, medium, for the micro, small, medium enterprises and self-employed individuals. So, okay, so this presentation will be divided into different parts. So we'll start with registration. Next is tax filing. And the third one will be optimization, where I'll introduce Taxumo. So let's begin with registration. So who here are actually registered already? Don't worry, no. I mean, we won't share it naman to BIR if hindi pa kayo registered. But just I want to have like a feel of the room lang. Ilan sa inyo ang registered na? When I say registered, until like COR sana, Certificate of Registration from the BIR or registered with the BIR. So you can put it in the chat box. So okay, sige, yan, meron tayo. Okay. Si Bernadette. Yeah, so for those, no, okay, registered. So for those who haven't registered yet, I'll take you through the process of registering your business. But before that, a big question that we always get is, why should I go legit? Why should I register my business, diba? Hindi ko naman, ito yung mga comments na narinig namin lagi, hindi ko naman na-feel na pag nagbayad ako ng tax, tinutulungan ako ng gobyerno, or hindi ko, like, ano ba yung benefit sa akin as a business owner, right? So one is, you can get bigger clients, especially if you're in retail, no? If you have like, syempre, di ba, when you sell things, gusto mo marami kang benta, di ba? Gusto mo, like, you get the bigger clients who would pay you a bigger sum of money. But these bigger clients normally would request for an invoice or an OR, diba? So, though, if you are a legitimate company, you can issue those invoices and ORs. The reason why they are asking for sales invoices and ORs is that they will have to record it also sa books nila, diba? Kailangan nila ma-record yung transaction na yon. If hindi ka registered, hindi nila ma-record yon, hindi nila matatago. And normally, big amounts, hindi mo naman talaga matatago yon. So, if you really want to grow your business and get bigger clients, go legit. Another is loans, HMOs, and credit cards. Basically, having a financial history. Just to give you an idea, like, loans talaga sa banks of reputable institutions go as low as, well, ngayon medyo mataas, no? But there was a time na parang 5% lang yung interest ng loans namin sa bank. And these reputable institutions can go that low, no? Because it's less riskier for them. And the reason why they can give you that rate, that low rate, it's because meron kang financial history, no? So parang nakikita nila if you really can pay the loans and they're willing to risk loaning to you. So normally, if you loan from the bank, they would get like at least 3 years of financial history. And for online sellers like you, maganda siya that you have like a credit line or you can easily loan from a bank, no? Because sometimes, di ba, ang nakikita namin, like for peak seasons, di ba, like for sale, yung mga 2, 3, 3, 4, 4, 5, 5, normally nagsa-stock up ka ng mga raw materials mo or nagsa-stock up ka on on the products that you will sell, diba, you have to buy. So very important na meron kang credit line or at least access to credit. No? And so that mapapaikot mo siya. Diba? So, and you can get more revenue later on. The next is government programs. We've seen this in the pandemic, no? So, magkakaroon ka lang ng ayuda if you are in the records of the government. So, some people benefited from it during the pandemic, and nakakuha sila ng mga loans, ng ayuda as well. Next is avoid tax penalties. Walang makakatalo sa peace of mind. Like, I don't want to wake up every day thinking na meron ba akong kailangang bayaran in the future? Ma-audit ba ako? Masisilip ba ako? Gusto ko pagkagising ko, I know that everything is up and up. Lahat ng ginagawa ko with my business ay tama and basically at par of with what the government wants me to do there. So, yun yung mga, those are the things or those are the reasons why you should go legit. Okay, next question. Should I go, now that I want to go legit, what is it that I should start? Should I register as a professional? Should I register as a sole prop, partnership, or corporation? In the Philippines, normally the most common, I would say, like business structure, you call these business structures, is either you go sole proprietorship, pag mag-isa ka, or corp. Diba? Dati, pag 5 ka. But now kasi, wala nang delineation talaga when it comes to the number of like people in that entity or in that business. No? Kasi pwede namang one-person corp ngayon. Diba? So, wala nang limit as to the number. But let's see. I'll share with you what the differences are or what your considerations can be. So there are 2 factors that you need to consider. One is the regulatory requirements, yung makikita nyo sa axis na to, and then liability sa baba. No? So let's start with liability. A lot of people say na pag nag-corporation ka, mapoprotect kasi yung assets mo, diba? So that's what you call the liability. No? Like if umutang ka and hindi mo nabayaran, hahabulin daw yung properties mo or yung personal assets mo. So in this, dito sa gitna, personally liable. So, if you are a sole prop professional, syempre, you're personally liable, no? And as you go farther away from that, from being personally liable, pumupunta siya sa personal assets cannot be used to pay liabilities, which is obviously corporation. Because in a corporation, you actually create another entity. Even in partnership, na you create another entity. Or parang think of it as nanganak ka, no? You pinanganak mo itong other person, and this person is the corporation, and this person is the partnership, no? And may tinatawag kasi na corporate veil. Corporate veil is basically yung sinasabi nga ng mga friends ninyo na hindi mahabol yung personal assets mo. Okay? So, let's keep it there. Next is regulatory requirements naman. So, less requirements talaga pag sole prop professional. More requirements naman pag medyo partnership and corporation. Why? Because let's say, an example is mag-open ka ng bank account. When you open a bank account, you will need to create a board resolution, a SEC certificate, ipapanotarize mo all of these documents. So every decision sa pagtayo ng corporation needs yung mga ganyang klaseng documents. Pero pag sole prop ka, pupunta ka lang sa bangko, bibigay mo lang yung business papers mo, pwede ka na mag-open ng bank account, diba? And a lot of other decisions pa will require mga ganon, board reso, SEC cert. So talagang more requirements pag corp, less requirements pag sole prop. Now, I cannot say that this one is better or one business structure is better than the other. It really depends on your business objectives. For example, what do I mean? If you're gonna get investors to invest in you later on, it may be better na corporation ka na because you're gonna get investors. If you're just starting out and you're just testing a concept, it may be better na less requirements muna, like sole prop and professional, so that you can focus on growing the business. If wala ka naman balak umutang later on, baka mas better na sole prop ka, diba? So, ganun yung mga questions that you need to ask yourself when it comes to business structure. Okay, sorry. Professionals. Let me go deep pa dito sa difference ng professionals versus sole prop. Professionals are people who practice a profession, who do a specific service. Okay, so sample dyan, doctors, lawyers, digital workers, freelancers, consultants, athletes, no? So if you're practicing a profession, you're a professional. Sole proprietors are business owners normally with brick and mortar business and also an e-commerce store. Nasabi din yan sa law na if you have an e-commerce store or you're selling online, dapat sole prop ka talaga. So yon, no? So doctors na may clinic, sole prop sila kasi may brick and mortar business. Pero yung doctors na nagmo-moonlight, no, nagsuservice sa iba't ibang hospitals, pwedeng professional yung piliin nila. So I hope medyo na-clarify yung mga business structures. So think about it. If you have any questions about this part of the presentation, about business structures, please type it in, no, sa comment section, as a chat box, so that we can go through it later on. Okay, now next. So there are different kinds of agencies, government agencies that you need to work with depending on the business structure that you chose. Okay? So let's start with corporation muna and partnership. Sa corporation and partnership, you first go to the SEC because you will have to reserve a name, no? So normally, ang SEC, dyan binibigay yung pangalan ng business or dyan mo nire-reserve yung pangalan ng business. Tapos, meron kang LGU where you get your mayor's permit. I'm sure you have heard about this naman, no? Mayor's permit, yung mga sanitary permit, yung mga locational, yung zoning permit, etc. Sa BIR, dun mo naman kukuhain yung Certificate of Registration mo, ATP or Authority to Print. Yung ATP na yan kasi, kailangan mo yan, yung form na yan, it's a form basically. Yung ATP na yan, you need that to print out ORs and sales invoices. And then you will have your stamp books of accounts, no? Something like this. Yung mga ganito, yung columnar ledgers nyo. So that has to be stamped by the BIR. So yun yung process, or that's the process for partnerships and corporations. Now, for sole proprietors naman, instead of the SEC, you reserve a name with the DTI, no? So that's your trade name. So after that, you still go through the same process, which is LGU and the BIR, right? So yun yung sa sole prop. Now, for the professionals, they need not get a trade name because they're basically themselves. No? They can use their name sa OR. So normally, they don't go na through DTI. They also don't need a mayor's permit or a business permit, but they need a barangay clearance and an occupational tax receipt or a professional tax receipt from the barangay. So kaya siya yellow sa LGU because that's what they get from their local government unit or the barangay. No? And then, obviously, they go to BIR after and also receive the same kinds of documents. So if I were you, write this down. You have 4 documents that you have to get from the BIR, which is your Certificate of Registration or your COR or Form 2303. So Certificate of Registration, ATP, Authority to Print, and then with that authority to print, you actually can print out your sales invoices and your official receipts already. So that's number 3, ORs and sales invoices, or sales invoices rather. And number 4, your stamp books of accounts, which you can buy in National and have it stamped by the BIR. No? So ganun siya. Okay, so anong nakikita niyo dito? You are only legitimate or like you have completed the process if you have registered with the BIR. So, yung mga questions na DTI registered naman ako, di ba okay na yun? Hindi po okay yun. Or humingi ka ng resibo, bibigyan ka nila ng DTI permit or ng mayor's permit. Hindi lang po yun. Or magpapacheck sila magpapa-verify ng identity, mayor's permit lang, walang COR, hindi rin po. Pwede yan. So, talagang BIR is the end all and the be all of everything. Kasi basta nagbabayad ka ng tax at saka registered ka with the BIR, you are legit. No? You are a legitimate company. Okay, next. So, this one, I will just breeze through it, no? Because all of these documents naman, you can ask later on from us if you are interested to register. So you can just email our customer care at taxumo.com. If you want help in registering or if you want guidance in registering, you can just email us. So for sole prop, we go through again DTI, LGU, and BIR. So for DTI, these are the process. Now, this is the process that you have to go through. So this is just online anyway, no, for like filling out the fields. So kaya fields kasi it's online naman. And then your payment must be completed within 7 days. So there are different types of payment methods naman. And then you can download na your BRNS, dun sa BRNS, yung Certificate of Business Name Registration. So BNRS system pala siya. Yan. So Business Name Registration System. Next. For SEC naman, kung sa SEC ka naman for corporations, no, and partnerships. So these are the different kinds of documents that you need to get. So dapat meron kang articles of incorporation, bylaws, treasurer's affidavit, bank cert of deposit, undertaking to change name. So meron naman yan. And online na rin ang SEC ngayon, no. So this is the site, no? Register online via csr.sec.gov.ph and then claim your SEC certificate registration and receive your parang one-pager siya, unified registration record. So nandun na yung mga parang TIN, SSS, PhilHealth, Pag-ibig, ganon. So that is your unified registration record. Next. So after you have your name reserved already, you go to the LGU. So dapat may proof of residency ka plus ID, and then you go to the barangay to get a barangay business clearance kasi kailangan din to sa business. Kanina 'di ba sinabi ko sa professionals, pwedeng makakuha din ng occupational tax receipt or professional tax receipt. So, normally, pag ikaw ay PRC registered, no, Philippine Regulatory Commission registered, meaning doctors, architects, no, yung mga ganon. So, you get the PRC license. So, dapat professional tax receipt naman yung kukuhanin niyo. And then, in the barangay hall, all of these are like the same for everybody naman. So, proof of residency, ID, if you have DTI or SEC cert, bring that. Barangay business clearance from the barangay. Birth certificate, marriage certificate, proof of billing, title of property or lease contract, picture of inside and outside of the business address, 2 valid IDs, 3 copies, 2x2 picture of owner, 2 copies. So bring all of those. And then once you're done with the city hall, you'll get the mayor's permit, fire safety inspection certificate, sanitary permit, environmental permit, CTC, CGL, comprehensive general liability, no, insurance that goes with that, no. So meron na doon mga naka-station na provider within the city hall. So this is true for sole prop, again, partnership and corporation. And then the last step would be the BIR. So sa BIR naman, okay, so RDOs. Ito, maraming questions nandito sa RDO transfer. If you were employed before, the employer would normally ask you for your details. And then, ang nangyari is, it's a transfer, yung TIN mo, your RTIN number, it's attached to a specific RDO or branch of the BIR. RDO stands for Regional District Office of the BIR. So our TIN before would be attached to a specific city, and normally it was the city of our employer. So if you haven't been working for quite some time and then you're running a business, no, it's very important to transfer already your TIN to the city of your residential address. And that's not only for business owners, that's for everybody, no? Everyone who's employed as well. Kasi when you transfer jobs, hindi na rin yun pinapa-transfer sa city ng current or magiging employer ninyo. lahat tayo, it's already attached to the residential address. So for you to change those details, you need this form, Form 1905, and then bring that basically to the RDO of the city that you reside in, and then have it stamped, and then normally just wait 2 weeks kasi hindi pa talaga automated yung system ng BIR. So normally wait for 2 weeks before your records appear. Okay? So yun siya. Tapos now, for those who want to register sa yung business nila, no? So ito, for professionals, actually hindi professionals, everyone goes through that form, yung 1901, and then you have your payment form, and all of these other things that you need to prepare, no? All of those are dadalhin nyo na sa BIR, and then at the end of it all, yung process, you'll get this, the 2303 BIR Certificate of Registration, Stamp Books of Accounts, and the ATP. Itong ATP na to, what you will do is you will go to an authorized printer and have minimum of 10 booklets. So, ano yan? Minimum talaga yan. So, you will have 10 booklets of sales invoices printed out or ORs printed out. And then, you will go again to the RTO, have it stamped together with your columnar ledgers, and you're done with the process. So, if you need help and guidance, just go to this link. If you have any questions about registration, feel free to type it in the chat box below. And then, ano bang mga tips ko sa inyo? Just be sure na kompleto yung documents that you will bring to the government offices. Kasi dun talaga nagtatagal. And normally, pag hindi consistent yung nakalagay across all forms, kunwari as simple as Maria, kunwari yung pangalan mo. Maria, kunwari, Maria Geraldine, ganyan, kunwari. MA sa ibang documents, MARIA sa ibang documents, it's pwedeng ma-stall yung ano mo yung process mo because of little details like that. So make sure that complete and consistent. Yun, 2 C's, no? Complete and consistent yung mga documents na ipapasa natin, and the forms are filled out consistently. Yan. So, okay, so compliance naman. So, if you have questions again about business reg, just put it in the chat box. We'll discuss it later, no, after the presentation. Okay, let's go to tax compliance. So, bakit important ang 2303 or the Certificate of Registration? This is basically your profile. Di ba sa Facebook may profile ka, sa Instagram may profile ka, sa BIR may profile ka rin. So, ito yung profile mo sa BIR. And what it contains are your basic information, no? So, this one, hindi siya secret. Kasi, in fact, ang BIR, what you call that, mandates you to put this, di ba, pinapaskill to sa storefront because it needs to be seen by the customers. Okay, so, ang important dito, syempre yung details mo, your TIN, which is above, and the type of tax forms that you need to pay. So, in this case, mapapansin ninyo, Taxumo is required to pay income tax, value-added tax, registration fee, withholding tax expanded, no? Parang yun yung mga nandun sa COR namin. Okay. And in terms of, so, ang daming tax forms, no? So, in a year, just to give you an idea, these are sort of the tax deadlines or kailan due yung bawat tax form na yan. So, this is an overview, but we'll deep dive into each one this morning. So, let's start with income tax. Okay. So, bakit tayo nag-start with income tax? Because this is the most popular tax when it comes to tax filing. So, alam na ng mga tao na, ay, April, magbabayad na kayo ng tax, di ba? Annual income tax return. Okay, so let's understand what income tax is. Okay. So, income tax basically is your sales, di ba? Pag income, di ba, yung ewan ko kung naturuan kayo sa accounting, di ba? Alam natin na pag income, that is your revenue less expenses, di ba? It's either may income ka or wala, di ba? Kung meron kang basically income or loss siya, di ba? So, ganon. So, ganon dito sa BIR. No? So, you are taxed for whatever you earn, basically. So there are ways on how to compute your tax dues. And it revolves around ano ba yung rate na gagamitin at ano ba yung trato or yung treatment ninyo sa expenses ninyo. Okay? Those two things lang, just keep that in mind pag income tax. So, ano yung rate na gagamitin at saka paano ko iti-treat yung expenses ko. Okay? So, there are two kinds of rates no, in general. The graduated income tax rate and the 8% flat income tax rate. Let's start with the graduated income tax rate because this is the rate that has been there for quite some time. In 2018, nagkaroon ng changes, big changes sa tax rates. No? So that was called the train law. No? The train law. Before the train law, 2018 backwards, we already had the graduated income tax rate, which means na yung babayaran mo, it's based on a table like this. So habang tumataas yung kinikita mo, tumataas din ng porsyentong binibigay natin sa gobyerno, no? Sa BIR. So this is the tax table right now. And how you get the tax dues is basically you get the taxable income. So that is gross sales minus your gross purchases. Lahat ng kinita mo less all of your expenses, no? So that is your taxable income. Now, when you get that taxable income, you'll now look at this table. So if your taxable income is not over 250,000 pesos, as you can see, wala kang babayaran. This is where, I don't know if you've heard, but people are saying and talking na, di ba, pagka may threshold yan, pag hindi ka kumikita ng 250,000, hindi ka na magbabayad ng tax. This is where it falls. They are actually talking about income tax. Okay? So from 250 to 400, so yung range na yan, 15%. So ganun lang yan. That's how you read the table. Yun yung tax due mo, taxable due mo as per this table. Now, what we're talking na lahat ng sales minus all of the expenses, the treatment of your expenses in that case is called itemized deduction. Kaya makikita ninyo dito sa left, itemized siya. So, itemized, so, di ba usually may mga friends kang humihingi ng resibo from you, di ba? Pag kumakain kayo sa labas, parang akin na lang yung resibo. Malamang yung friend mo na yon itemized deduction. Because you're telling the BIR, how I computed my taxable income is all of my revenue minus lahat ng expenses ko. Yun yung, ganun ko siya kinompute. Okay? I hope so far clear. Okay, so next is graduated pa rin, nandito pa rin tayo sa table, but the treatment of how expenses are computed is called naman, is under OSD. OSD means optional standard deduction. What does that mean? No, napaka-complicated naman. Optional standard deduction. It just means na 40% of your gross sales are your expenses. So parang sinasabi mo sa BIR, the way I computed my taxable income, gross sales, basically minus like 40%. Or in other words, gross sales times 60%. No? Okay. And then, base it again on the table. So that's for income tax. Okay? So, klaro naman so far yung, I hope clear so far ang income tax rate. That is graduated income tax rate, itemized, and OSD. Okay? And then, let's go to 8% flat income tax rate. There you go. So 8% flat income tax rate. Di ba I mentioned in 2018, the government introduced the train law. And together with that law, sabi ni BIR, okay, for small businesses, gawin nating mas mababa, no? So, gawin na lang nating flat rate. Wala na lang mga table na magko-compute pa sila, no? But in essence, magko-compute pa rin naman kayo. But wala na yung complicated tiering, ganyan. Gusto ko 8% flat. So this 8% flat rate was only given to individuals, take note ha, individuals who are sole prop and professionals with gross income less than 3 million pesos. Meaning to say, if kinikita mo in a year, is more than 3 million, hindi ka dapat nag-8% flat rate. Or if expected mo na more than 3 million ka, no? Huwag ka na mag-flat rate. By the way, just as a side note, yung rates na yan, you can shift from one to the other, even with the methods, every start of the year, of the calendar year, no? Taxable year na calendar. So, calendar period siya. So, there. So, you pay that, and then you choose that, you choose the rate. Okay, so let's go to this 8%. So, ang mangyayari is tax payable. So, tax payable is equal to basically all of your gross sales, lahat ng kinikita mo, minus the 250,000 threshold, again, the exemption, times 8%. So if mixed income ka naman, okay, let's talk about mixed income earners. Mixed income earners does not mean marami kang negosyo. It means you are fully employed or you are an employee in a local employer and you are doing business on the side or a profession on the side. So that is called mixed income earner. Okay, for mixed income earners, mapapansin ninyo, if you've noticed, wala yung 250,000 threshold. Why? Because the 250,000 is already deducted dun sa winidhold ng employer ninyo sa inyo. So sa business ninyo, the way to compute it is straight through na siya. Gross sales times 8%. Okay, now, sa deadlines, ang income tax po ay hindi binabayaran once a year lang. Quarterly po siya. Just to be clear, quarterly ang income tax returns nyo. No? So, January to March, the deadline is May. January to June, the deadline is August. Ganun siya lagi, no, when you compute it. Kasi may mga fields sa form that takes into consideration from the start. January to September, deadline is November. And January to December, the deadline is annual income tax return or your ITR, itong sa April, no? Annual income tax return. So, ganun siya. So, every quarter, you have to declare and file. And then, yung pang-close ng taon, yun yung sa April. Okay. I think we have a question here before I go to withholding tax. I think yung next. I think we have a question from CJ. If we're BMBE though, how can we avail of the income tax exemption? Automatic no, if you have your BMBE certificate, you just need to file when it comes to income tax. You just need to file your April, zero naman siya because you will file sales taxes later on. What do I mean by sales tax? Either percentage or VAT. We'll discuss that later, no? But keep that in mind. So, with that BMBE certificate, you don't have to file yung quarterly mo na income tax because zero din yan. Pero you have to file zero tax dues on April. Okay? And the only tax rate, diba kanina sabi ko, keep in mind, the only tax rate that you can use if BMBE ka is graduated income tax rate itemized. So wala kang choice. Hindi ka pwede mag 8%, hindi ka pwedeng mag OSD. Itemized lang siya for BMBE. Yan. I hope it's clear, no? Okay, let's go to expanded withholding tax. Okay, now, ano yung concept ng expanded withholding tax? Expanded withholding tax, basically, si BIR, the BIR as an entity, no, looks or assigns, that's the right word, assigns individuals or corporations to be what we call withholding tax agents. So what are withholding tax agents? These are entities and individuals na para silang mini BIR. They collect from their suppliers, no? In this case, expanded withholding tax. So when I pay, for example, I pay Bernadette, she's my supplier, I'm a withholding tax agent, I withhold a certain amount from my pay to Bernadette so that I can already forward it to the BIR and I report to BIR that Bernadette is one of my suppliers. So parang pinapauna ko na a portion of the tax that Bernadette has to pay. So yun yung concept ng withholding taxes. So again, pag meron ako mga suppliers, lahat yon, pag withholding tax agent ako, I need to withhold a specific amount based on anong klaseng entity sila, individual or corporation. Individuals normally 5 to 10%, corporations usually 10 to 15% ang withhold from the pay that should be given to them, and I remit it to the BIR. And in return, I give Bernadette a form called 2307 form, which is a form that says, Bernadette, pinauna ko na sa BIR yung bayad na to, which is, let's say, amounting to 3,000 pesos. So yung 3,000 pesos na yun ni Bernadette, gagamitin niya yon sa kanyang income tax, or she'll use that as tax credits. So kanina, sa total tax dues mo, if let's say it's 10,000, Bernadette now will have to subtract 3,000 because she has that particular form, which is the 2307 form, or creditable withheld tax form. Okay? So that form is called an attachment. So it is an attachment to income tax, okay? Not other kinds of taxes, but income tax. 2307 is an attachment to income tax. And that attachment, you will have each filing sa BIR, and make sure na if you have accountants, make sure that ginagawa nila to. Every filing ng income tax, if you have 2307 forms, you have to declare that, and also have to submit a list of those called Summary Alpha List of Withholding Taxes, or SAWT, together with your income tax. So hindi ka natatapos sa filing lang, but also submit the attachments. Okay? So ganun siya. So again, CWT forms, or creditable withheld tax forms, called 2307 forms, are attachments to to income tax forms na lang in general, no? Income tax forms. Okay. So for corporate naman, let's go to the income tax rate then for graduated, no? Again, for corporations, they can choose na graduated income tax rate, okay? Itemize, di ba sabi natin may dalawang deduction method. So itemize, so this is how you compute it. Taxable income again is net profit. Okay, how did we get this net profit? Kanina kasi walang ganito sa individuals, di ba? Sa P&L or sa income statement ng corporation, gross sales, meaning lahat ng kinita mo, less of cost of goods sold. Ano ba yung cost of goods sold, Ginger? So, kung magkano yung expenses mo related sa mga binibenta mo. For example, raw materials, pumapasok dyan. Basta sa production ng ginagawa mo. Okay? So, yun yung cost of goods. Basically, magkano yung isang item na binibenta mo, yun yung cost of goods sold. So, lahat ng expenses na related sa paggawa nun, papasok sa cost of goods sold. Gross income naman is less the expense, and then gross income, and then less expenses, you get the net profit. So expenses, yan yung mga hindi related. Kunwari nag-meeting ka with a client, or what else? Yeah, basta mga ganun, no? Meals, kunwari, representation. So less expenses dyan papasok. So net profit. Okay, let's go back to this now. So taxable income in this particular case, sa corporation, is your net profit times the regular rate. The regular rate right now sa corp is 25%. So 25% times the taxable income, no, which is your net profit. That's your tax payable. Sa OSD naman, so gross income mo, so yung gross income, meaning ito, yung gross sales less cost of goods equals gross income. Gross income times 60%. And then times 25, no? So yan yung taxable income times 25. And then may tinatawag na minimum corporate income tax rate sa corporations. This is triggered pag 4 years na kayo na in business, no? And corporations, again, work in corporations. What is the MCIT? So MCIT is basically gross income times 2%. So pagdating ng 4th year, you have a choice kung gusto mong gross income, yung gross income na yan, times 2%, or 25% na tax rate of the taxable income or the net profit. So whichever is higher. So you have that choice when you reach 4 years in business. Starts on the 4th year. So I hope clear then yung corporate tax rates, no? So tapos na tayo for corporate tax rates and income and individual income tax rates. Now for sellers, very quick crash course, no? I don't know, may mga nagbebenta ba dito through like Lazada, Shopee? Maybe you can put like in the chat box if you are selling sa via Lazada, Shopee, all of those. Kasi 'di ba in the news recently, nagkaroon ng news, online sellers now will parang we withholdan ng 1%, 'di ba? Parang ganon, may mga news na ganon. Meron ba tayong mga Shopee and Lazada sellers here? So basta I'll discuss it na rin just in case. Ayan, okay, perfectly well. Okay. So, let's go through this na. So let's first go through the buyer information. Normally, pag bumibili ka sa Lazada, makikita mo yan. Bibili ka ng bag, kunwari worth 4,100. 4,100 less Lazada discount, seller discount, equals grand total. Diba? Yan yung ibabayad ko kay merchant, 3,652. Tapos, sa online seller dashboard mo naman, sa mga platforms na to, makikita mo ang grand total, parang 3,523 yung credit sa akin. No? So let's first go through this buyer payment information. So the sales here is 4,115, right? And then seller discount, as stated here, minus 63, net sales mo is 4,052. From this 4,052, note na wala pa yung discount dito ng Lazada. 4,052, you will get the vatable amount. So, itong pinapakita ko sa inyo, this is how you write it in your sales invoice, okay? So, what is 12%? So, yan. So, 405, what is the vatable amount? 4,052 times, divided by 1.12. So, you get this amount. The VAT is this amount times 12. So, this is the amount, 434. And then, you less it dito, yung Lazada discount. Dito siya, less 400. So, this is what you see, no? Yung 3,652. So, ito yung ilalagay nyo sa sales invoice. Now, dito naman sa P&L ninyo or your profit and loss statement, itong 3,617, let's go back, 3,617.86, so that's your vatable amount, dito siya. Less cost of goods sold. Remember, I said all of the expenses na related sa paggawa niyo ng produkto or pag-ship ninyo, ayun pala, fulfillment as well, you will have to subtract it. So commissions, less payment gateway fee, shipping fee, less raw mat. Let's say ang raw mat ninyo, I just made this up like 3,000 kunwari for that bag, equals your gross income. So itong gross income mo, deduct expenses. Let's say your overhead is 50 pesos per item. So your net profit is 39.56. This is your taxable income. Okay? This one, I hope I made it clear naman kung paano siya, no? Because we get that a lot eh. Like, paano ko siya re-resibuhan? And how do I also put it in my P&L? Ano ba yung mga line items dyan na kailangan kong i-consider? So, that's why we made this guide. So, okay, where does the 1% withholding tax come into play? No? So, the 1% withholding tax is based on this amount. This amount, and then only for remittances, take note ha, if you have remittances less than 500,000 per year, you are exempted from the withholding tax, no, from the 1% withholding tax. But if you go beyond 500,000, the platform will withhold 1% of 50% of the remittances. Again, 1% only of 50% of the remittances to you. So it does not affect your P&L. Some things to note, does not affect your P&L nor your taxable income. It does act as your tax credit. Again, in that ecosystem of withholding tax, di ba, sinabi ko sa inyo, may withholding tax agent, meron silang binibigyan ng certificate, which is the 2307. It's the same process. No? It's the same process. So that 1% basically what the platform does is that they withhold that 1%, they give it to BIR and say, these are all of the sellers that I withheld from. They give you the 2307 form that you can apply where? In your income tax forms, diba? Pwede siyang gawing credit sa income tax forms. The platform is required to report who they withheld from, includes seller's name, address, TIN. Okay. Why is this important that I mentioned it? Because some people, some sellers come to us and say, bakit ako nasilip ng BIR? Hindi naman ako registered. Or some professionals, no, content creators, hindi naman ako naka-register. Ba't ako nasilip? May penalties daw ako. This is why. Because there's such a thing as an ecosystem kung saan yung mga suppliers or yung mga clients ninyo nagwi-withhold at nagsasubmit ng listahan ng lahat ng suppliers nila that they withheld from. And they give it to the BIR because they are required to. So sila, they want to be up and up with compliance. That's why they submit this list, no? So that's why some people, kahit na hindi registered, nasisilip ng BIR because they're part of that whole e-commerce, diba? Of that whole marketplace, ika nga. So there. Okay, so that's for income tax with an attachment of 2307 or creditable withheld tax forms. Next, we go to VAT and percentage tax. So these are called your sales tax or business taxes, no? Well, sales tax, most oftentimes, it's called that. So one is percentage tax, okay? So normally, percentage tax forms are only paid by non-VAT entities, okay? Non-VAT entities. So Ginger, how do I know kung non-VAT entity ako? In your COR, if nakalagay percentage tax, you are a non-VAT entity. Okay, non-VAT entities earn less than 3 million gross receipts or gross revenues in a year. So that's the only distinction between VAT and non-VAT entities. Pag hindi ka pa umabot sa threshold, by law ha, by law. Pag hindi ka pa umabot sa threshold na yon, non-VAT ka pa. But the minute you step on that 3 million threshold, pag kumita ka ng 3 million a year, you need to change all of your receipts to VAT already, okay? And you need to change your registration to VAT already. Okay, percentage tax. So it's tax payable. So the tax payable is your gross sales times 3%, okay? Depending on the applicable percentage tax. Why do I say that? Because there are some types of businesses na hindi naman 3%. But generally, for most of us, it's 3%. And when are the deadlines? It's January for October, November, December, April for January, February, March, April, May, June, July yung deadline, August, September, October, August, September, October, yun na pala yun. Ito na yun, January, February, March, April, basta the month after the last month. Yun yung deadline ng percentage. Okay? Bernadette, you can register naman agad as VAT company, right? Especially now if Shopee sales is more than 3 million na ngayon parang yes. If you know na parang eventually dadating ka rin sa point na 3M, register ka na as VAT, no? Para hindi na you don't have to change all of the things again. Kasi medyo maduguran to change from percentage to VAT, no? From non-VAT to VAT, and then VAT to non-VAT. Medyo madugo, no? But you can do either way with the BIR. Yung requirements lang, if you wanna downgrade, kunwari VAT ka, tapos hindi ka naman kumita ng 3M, kailangan meron ka lang financial history or audited financial statements. Basically for, I think if I'm not mistaken, 2 years or 3 years. Parang ganon. So, ganon. You have to show pa rin na hindi ka talaga kumita ng 3M. Okay, let's go to VAT naman. Okay. VAT naman, may tinatawag na output and input tax, okay? So, output tax is basically what you patong, ano yung pinapatong mo sa sales mo. For example, binibenta ko to for 1,000 pesos. I add 12% to 1,000 pesos, and that 12% na pinatong ko dito to sell is called output tax, okay? Yung pinapatong mo because you're the seller. Now, to make this, let's say, I bought this, and let's say this is 500, and the supplier is also a VAT entity. That supplier also has pinatungan din niya ng 12%. In my case, because expenses ko siya, that is called input tax. Okay, the 12% that my supplier charged is input tax. So how do you compute for VAT? It's basically the 12% that I got from selling this, output tax, less the 12% that I spent for, which is called the input tax. And that is the reason why businesses, normally pag VAT ka, you also want to deal with VAT entities because they also have 12% that can be deducted from your output tax. Diba? Yon. So, ganun yung computation yan. So, output tax less input tax. Now, if yung supplier mo is a non-VAT entity, wala kang input tax. Diba? So, walang minus dito sa VAT. So, ang deadline again is for VAT, no? April, July, October, and January. It's the same actually as percentage tax. Now, okay, what is this SLS and SLP? Grabe yung BIR, mahilig sa mga acronyms talaga. So, itong SLS na to, at saka SLP ng VAT, yan, di ba? Yung SLS na to is called Summary List of Sales and Summary List of Purchases. Meaning to say, if you are a VAT entity, you have to submit together with your form a list of all of your sales. So, lahat ng taong kinitaan mo from, basically a list of your customers, to simplify it. And then sales of purchases, a list of all of your suppliers, no? Or where you bought certain things. No? So summary list of sales and summary list of purchases. So be sure that if you have an accountant, also that they submit this. No? Normally kasi ito yung mga hindi alam ng mga tax filers na dapat gawin din ng mga accountants nila. But obviously, in Taxumo, it's automated. Diba? So, yan. Okay, I hope that clarifies sales taxes. So, tapos na tayo with two types of taxes, income and sales tax, which is percentage or VAT. Now, we go to expanded withholding. Kanina, I gave you a glimpse already, diba, of that ecosystem of withholding agents and their suppliers, diba? So, in this case, we're talking about the withholding agent, no? So, I see in my COR that I have to pay expanded withholding tax. What does that mean? So, pag nakita niyo yun sa COR, that means, sabi ni BIR, o Ginger, or ikaw, seller, mag-withhold ka from all of your suppliers because you will be a mini BIR. No? You will have to withhold and send it to me, send the payments to me. So, as a withholding agent, these are the forms that you need to file. So first, let's compute first. Paanong computation? So it's your total payable times the ATC rate. So that ATC rate, ATC stands for Alphanumeric Tax Code. So that ATC code is, may description naman yan eh. So every ATC code, let's say, nakalagay WI 080. WI usually is an individual. Kung yung supplier mo is an individual, it's usually WI. Pag business, it's normally WB or WC pag corporation. No? So, meron yung description. Kunwari, professional services, whatever, 5% or 10%. No? So, that is the code that you use, yung WI 0 something. Ganyan. So, total payable, kunwari, ang payable ng isang client sa akin is 10,000 times, let's say, 10% of that. So, yung amount withheld is basically that, that, no? Yung ano nun, yung some, ano bang, 10, sabi ko kanina 10,000, no? So, 1,000. So, 1,000 of that is your amount withheld. So, yun yung ilalagay sa 2307 form, which will be given to me, and then that will be yung attachment ko sa income tax ko. So, total payable to supplier is total payable minus the amount withheld. So, in essence, kung babayaran nila ako ng 10,000 minus the amount withheld, which is 1,000, 9,000 lang yung matatanggap ko as a supplier. And hindi siya expense on my end, no? Hindi ka naman lugi because actually, inuuna lang or pinapauna mo lang yung bayad ng tax mo dun sa client mo. So in essence, babayaran mo rin naman yan at the end of the day. Yeah. So it's fine. So kaya siya tax credits to your income tax return. Now, yung client ko, that withheld, the forms that he or she will use will be 0619E for monthly forms, 1601 EQ for quarterly forms, and meron siyang annual form which is 1604E. Notice that for your quarterly forms, meron kang QAP. What is QAP? Quarterly Alpha List of Payees. Again, list of all of your suppliers. So kasama siya dun sa filings mo every quarter, no? Binibigay mo yan sa BIR. If you are a withholding tax payer, so that is the issuer. No? Okay, so we're done with expanded withholding tax as well. Now we go to compensation. Okay, what is compensation tax naman? Compensation, withholding tax on compensation is the tax form, or that are the tax forms basically paid by the employer to the BIR for the withheld amount from their employees. As you can see, expanded are withheld amounts from the client na ibabayad rather to the supplier. In this case, withholding tax on compensation is employer to employee. Okay? So this is also called substituted filing for those who are employees. So pag empleyado ka, you are not required to file your own income tax return because the employer already withholds the entire amount, and that is your, basically that those are your taxes already, no, to the government. That is why it's called substituted filing, because the normal way is lahat tayo magbabayad on our own. Individually natin binabayaran yung taxes. So substituted ang mga empleyado because hindi yun yung normal way actually. Kaya siya substituted filing. No? So, okay, withholding tax on compensation is on a monthly basis. Kung meron kayong empleyado, you all have to deduct 250,000 by default, di ba yung kanina sinabi ko, from the employees. And then 1604C, January, 2316, which is ibibigay mo to your employees, di ba sa suppliers, it's 2307, as a proof that you were withheld from by your client. And pag empleyado ka naman, the form 2316 is already the income tax form, which is a proof already na winidholden ka ng employer. So that already, if yun lang yung ginagawa mo ha, kung employee ka lang, and wala kang business on the side, 2316 can suffice, okay? And then alpha list, end of February yung deadline for the alpha list. So again, it's based on a tax table. Like magkano yung kinakaltas sa empleyado is also based on a tax table. So we have a lot of tax tables actually. So now we go to the last part of the presentation, and it's optimization. So I'm sure kayo parang, oh my gosh, ang dami naman dapat tandaan, like ang daming computation and all. But don't worry, no? So mapapadali natin yan later on. I'll teach you like ano yung pwede nyong gawin. So just before we go to Taxumo, I'll just give you like some brief tax hacks that you may or may not know. No? Okay, make sure that your clients are withholding the right rate for you. Because marami na parang for the sake of, sasabihin ng client parang kailangan ko mag-withhold, pero hindi naman pala sila nagbabayad ng withholding tax, yung mga ganon. Para lang mabawasan yung binabayad nila sa inyo. So, make sure that they really are withholding tax agents. And the right, for example, you're an individual, if you are registered, and if you provide a sworn statement to them, pwedeng 5% lang ang i-withhold sa'yo and not 10%. So those things like that, no, na parang you have to be aware that there are things like that that can help you optimize your tax and also like manage your cash flow, no. So if you are, itong sworn statement na to, these are for individuals who are earning less than 3 million gross revenue a year, and for corporations earning less than 750K per year. Okay. Now, kanina I was telling you about the tax rates. And actually, in terms of optimization, it's really about knowing when to choose the correct tax rate. So you'll have to track your income and expenses in order to know that, di ba? Kasi hindi mo naman malalaman if ito na ba yung optimized way of filing taxes or ito na yung optimized amount if you don't actually track your income and expenses, right? So just to give you an example, that the tax rate matters. Kanina, when I said optional standard deduction, that means, diba, that if your expenses, you're telling the BIR na, BIR, basta 40% of my revenue are my expenses, right? So if your expenses are greater than 40%, the more optimized solution is to choose the itemized deduction method. But if it's below 40% at konti lang ang expenses mo, choose optional standard deduction. Example, ito, if the expenses, if the expenses are below 40%, mapapansin ninyo, 1 million yung income in both cases, less than 40%, because 40% of 1 million is 400,000, obviously super less than 400,000. With itemized, you have to pay 184,000. Pero with OSD, you only pay 80,000. Diba? So, laki ng difference talaga if you just monitor and track your income and expenses. Dito naman, if the expenses are greater than 40%, again, 1 million, greater than 400,000, which is 40%, expenses are at 650,000, tax due for itemized is 20,000. OSD is 80,000. So makikita nyo, ang laki ng difference when it comes to like the tax dues that you need to pay. No? So if you want to know and tinker around, you can copy this link and then play around. Ano bang okay sa akin? Graduated ba ako or 8%? Ito naman more of 8% for flat income tax rate versus graduated income tax rate. So you can play around with that. And then, did you know that for individuals, you can pay your ITR in 2 installments if it's more than 2,000 pesos. And your first payment is at least like 50-40% of the total payable. The second payment, the remaining amount, is to be paid by October. So pwedeng installment, 0% interest, binibigay ng BIR. And then, don't forget the attachments. Ito marami ito na nagfa-file sila, hindi nila alam, meron pa ring attachments pala. So you have to submit the list to BIR. So for 1701 income tax, now you have your summary alpha list of withheld taxes. EWT, if you are a withholding tax agent, you have to submit a list of your payees, which is the QAP. Pag VAT ka, summary list of both sales, listahan ng mga kinita mo, yung mga customers mo, tsaka summary list of purchases, which is lahat ng listahan ng mga entities that or suppliers mo. No? Tapos ito, ibang system pa siya sa BIR. I'm sure you're familiar with EBRR forms, no? But there is another system where you have to submit the attachments, which is the alpha list module, actually, of BIR. Yon. Common mistakes also to avoid: not filing when tax due is 0. Okay, guys. So, pag 0 yung tax due, it doesn't mean hindi ka magfa-file. Case in point, BMB, kanina may nagtanong, 0 naman ako, hindi ko siya fa-file. No, you need to file the annual income tax return. Or, hindi ako kumita naman this month tsaka less than 250,000, so hindi na ako mag-file. No, you have to file 0. Ifa-file mo pa rin yung form. Even if wala kang kinita, wala kang tax dues, you still have to file. Okay, another common mistake. Di ba withholden na ako ng client ko? Or di ba nag-withhold na yung employer ko? So, yun na yun, kahit na may business ako. Hindi. You still have to file even if your client withheld for you, kasi that is only a portion of the tax that you need to pay. So, you still have to file because you have to pay the correct tax dues. Okay. Siguro we'll go to Taxumo before the questions, no? Para we'll go through the presentation na lang. Super quick lang naman to. So, if you don't want na parang you don't know how to compute kasi medyo nakakalito naman talaga, ang daming dapat tandaan or daming dapat i-consider, no? So all you need to do is use Taxumo. So I hope that all of you have already signed up and tried it out, no? So here are the main features and benefits of Taxumo. It works on any browser. Um, the thing about EBIR forms and some of these systems like AlphaList module, it only works on Windows. So ours kasi is browser-based, meaning you just type the URL in your browser and then you can already access the site. So even if you're on vacation elsewhere, you can still file your taxes so you don't get delayed. And then all you need to do is enter your revenue and your expenses. So if you're familiar with budget trackers, now wherein you like key in your revenue and your expense, it works the same way. So enter the revenue and expense of your business into Taxumo. Because obviously, the system needs data that they need to compute, diba? So, if walang data, wala kang pinasok, zero yung tax dues mo, diba? So, in this case, if meron kang kinita and meron kang expenses, it automatically computes for your tax dues. That's why we have what we call the real-time tax calculation. So, every time you enter your income, your revenue and expenses, it shows the total tax due amount. In Taxumo, each card that you see here in the tax dues tab, each card or each box is a tax form that you need to pay. What's good about Taxumo is that you see the due date already, plus you see the total amount that you need to pay. So what you can do is, if this is due in October, let's say 2024, you can already, pwede mo nang itabi yung amount na yan, no? So you can put it, you can set it aside first, and then at least natabi mo na siya. The reason why we have this real-time tax calculation, there are, the usual process is, ipapa-calculate mo, diba, your, what do you call that, your CPA gives you a spreadsheet. You give that spreadsheet to the CPA calculates, gives it back to you, the tax form, normally 2-3 days before the deadline, at most a week. And then you notice, oh my gosh, ang taas ng babayaran mo. Saan ka kukuha ng pera, di ba? So in this case, you already know, basta regular ka maglagay ng revenues mo and expenses mo, alam mo na magkano yung isa-set aside mo. And then you have your forms automatically filled out. So, basta, just as long as you have the data inside Taxumo, and then you can submit online to BIR already. No need for EBIR forms. You can also quickly pay online as well. You don't need na lilipat ka pa or like or pupunta ka ng bangko, papatatakan. Wala nang ganon. No? Wala nang ganong klaseng process in Taxumo. So you can pay via GrabPay, Paymaya, credit card, debit card, online banking, non-banks as well. I think we have like 7-Eleven, Cebuana Lulier. Yun. So it's powered by DragonPay. So you can pay via these different payment channels. Also, itong box of accounts mo, hindi mo na kailangan sulatan because, okay, the normal way is we have this report in Taxumo. All you need is to copy because by law, you have to have it handwritten here. But it also, itong report namin, you can also have it accredited as loose leaf accredited. Parang, you can also get loose leaf accreditation. Meaning to say, at the end of the year, ipaprint mo na lang to, and then, ipapatatak mo sa BIR yung, because it needs to be hard-binded, no? So, ipapatatak mo yung loose leaf report mo, and then that's it. That's your box of accounts. So you can use this to apply for that certificate. No? That's a separate certificate called loose leaf. But if konti lang naman yung transactions mo, you don't need the bookkeeper kasi kaya mo na on your own. As you can see in the screen, each column is basically a column in your ledger. So bawat column, kakopy mo na lang month, day, years, particulars, OR, cash, sales, services. Ganun na lang, kakopy mo na lang siya. Okay, and then, oh, sorry, I'll skip this. If you need guidance also of a CPA, we have also partner CPAs now. The reason why we have partner CPAs, because sometimes, sorry, let me go back. Sometimes there are things that need to be done manually. No? For example, audited financial statements. Kailangan auditor talaga ang gumawa nun. So, papagawa natin sa partner CPAs namin. No? At obviously, that's aside from the system. No? The cost for that is apart from the system. But other than that, I think yun na yung pinaka like manual na kailangan gawin. And also, if you're not yet registered, you can also seek the help of one of our partner CPAs to help you out. Because all that process, yung process kanina ng pag-register is still very manual. Pupunta ka pa rin, di ba, sa LGU, BIR. So, ganun, very manual pa rin yung process. So, we need partner CPAs for that. But, for your AFS, what's good about it is that when you have a subscription in Taxumo, you just give that delegate access to your CPA partner. You can get or if you have your own accountants can use this to file taxes. The reason why a lot of people opt into Taxumo, even if they have accountants, is for transparency. They want to see if their accountants file their tax forms, if they're complete. They want to see if tama ba yung mga entries, no? Or they want to see a report. Magkano ba yung revenue ko? Magkano yung expenses ko in the year? So at least they know what's going on. And if meron, let's say, God forbid, no, something happens to the CPA, all of your records or tax filings are in Taxumo. Even the confirmation, the attachments, in confirmation for the attachments na sinubmit, it's in Taxumo. So there. We also have Taxumo Consult. If you have questions about taxes or about entries or about some decisions that you want, finance decisions that you want to make for your business, you can also go to Taxumo Consult. We have consultation. It's at 1,500 for 45 minutes. Very affordable, no? Normally sa labas, mahal mag-consult talaga eh, sa CPA. We also have very helpful, super helpful customer advocates. We call them customer advocates or our customer service representatives. Available sila weekdays, okay, from 9 to 6 p.m. But they're very helpful. Okay, other services are right now, sorry, but this is like temporarily unavailable lang. Pero we have this, yung SSS, Pag-ibig. Wala kaming PhilHealth though. Ito temporarily unavailable because we depend on a provider also for this. So we're integrated with a provider for this. Not yet registered, you can also ask for help. All you need to do is email customercare@taxumo.com so that they can help you connect with a CPA partner who can help you out. Also, for those, if you have businesses na non-operational, meaning walang revenue, walang expenses, hindi mo alam if nagfa-file ka ba, no? So, what you can do is just file for it moving forward. And we have this plan called Taxumo Lifeline, which is 2,400 a year. And it automatically files yung mga taxes that you need to pay for that dormant, a non-operational business. No? Para hindi mo na kailangan i-close. We also have the, normally for corporations, yung plan that we suggest is small and medium business plan plus accountant. So we have this package called Taxumo Buddy. So it is a subscription plan with an accountant. So this is for corporations, iba rin yung rate for individuals, iba rin yung rate for small businesses, mga micro. And this is naman yung mga, these are the rates for our subscription plans. So this is a 2-year billing. Dito pwede nyo palitan. So we have 2-year, yung mga duration, 2-year, 1-year, quarterly, and monthly payments. Monthly, just to give an idea, goes as low as 888. And this is 1888, 2888. Ganon siya. So 2 years, basically 399 times 24, no? One-time payment siya for 2 years. Super big difference. So I would say 40%, and this is our stats now, 40% of our subscriber base are in our 2-year plans. because it's very, parang sulit talaga siya for them. So yeah, so sign up for free in Taxumo. This is our URL. If you haven't signed up yet, go to www.taxumo.com. So that's it. So I'll stop sharing, and then let's answer some of the questions that I failed to answer. I hope all of you know, you learned something new today.
Feeling ko nga na-overwhelm sila eh.
Ang daming information, no? So magtakso mo na lang kayo. Kasi mas madali talaga. 'Di ba?
Actually,
Ayan.
Ginger, I wanted to clarify. Since
Mm.
wala pang nag-additional na questions. Like when you
Yes.
mentioned that they can put in their sales and then their expenses, these are the things that they are already going to use for the AFS, di ba? Sa financial statements nila.
Yes.
Okay,
Correct.
so if I have staff that is not really an accountant, parang
Okay.
pwede sila turuan to use the account to input all of the information.
Yes, pwede yon. In fact, like we have doctors, yung mga secretaries nila yung naglalagay ng mga information. We have small business owners na parang summer job ng mga pamangkin nila is to
Right.
encode. Ganon. So, pwede. Yes.
So
So,
these are also the things that you have to put dun sa books, dun sa handwritten, dun sa journal.
yes, correct. Ganon
Okay.
siya.
Okay.
So, ganon din. It's the same thing. So, the things that you need to encode, aside from revenue and expenses, meron din kaming slot doon for you to copy your 2307s. So, kailangan yun, ipasok sa Taxumo. If you
Right.
received 2307s, and employee information if you have compensation. So those are
Okay.
the data entry in terms of like input into the system, revenue, expenses, withholding taxes, meaning 2307 forms,
Mm-mm.
and the compensation data.
Okay. Tapos
Yeah.
you can segregate there na ano dyan yung purchases mo, ano dyan yung utilities mo, ganyan. Is there a way to
Yes.
segregate?
Yes.
Okay.
May mga default categories na siya. May default categories na siya. But if you want to change or add a few more categories, you're free to do so. So
Hmm.
normally, what I would suggest if you're gonna use Taxumo as a system and you're sort of like a bigger business na and running na, no? Or even when you start, actually,
Yeah.
it's good to consult muna with Taxumo Consult. So you can pwede kayo magkwento like, ano yung mga revenue that you receive, ano yung mga
Right.
expenses, and you intend to use Taxumo, maybe what are the categories that I need to add pa kung ganito yung nasa account ko. So
Okay.
that's how these accountants can help you set it up as well, no? So ganon. So mag-Taxumo consult muna kayo, then set up your account, and then tuloy-tuloy na yan. Because
Yeah,
tinuruan na kayo like you have.
that's very convenient.
Yeah. A
Oo.
note though, no, maybe some kasi naka-accrual accounting. BIR, our system kasi, it's really primarily for BIR, diba? For tax filing.
Yeah.
So our entries are cash accounting. So
Mm.
laging bangga sa cash flow.
Yeah.
So for example, if you have payables, you have to split it. Kunwari, in your mind, is split mo na siya. Or, alam mo yun, like, whenever mo bilhin, yung total amount, ilalagay talaga siya.
Lalagay.
Yun lang yung
Right.
difference. Yeah. Ganon
Okay.
siya.
Okay.
So, hindi lang kami accrual. Wala lang mga payables, alam mo yun, receivables at this point in time because, again, we are not an accounting software, no?
Right.
Hindi siya accounting software. We are more cash flow management tracking because cash accounting din naman si BIR when it comes to these things.
Okay.
Okay.
And that's included already in the subscription fee. Like all of the
Yes.
features you mentioned.
Yes, yung books of accounts,
Ah.
kasama na doon.
Doon sa mga wala pang accountant,
Mm-mm.
ang retainer for accountant is usually mga 4,000 to 7,000. Mura na yun. So, like, the subscription fee is not bad. Definitely not bad.
Yeah. So, yeah. So, yun, in a nutshell, no, parang that's Taxumo. Our aim talaga is really to sort of help onboard a lot of people. Because you went into the business thinking na, tika, passion ko kasi magbenta, passion ko gumawa ng something. I want this to be a sustainable business in the long run. And then you're bombarded with all of these things, diba? Parang sobrang overwhelmed ka with all of the stuff. So we made it simple for people to just get it started, no? Just to feel the groove, be compliant, no? At the same time, be compliant. And then later on, makikita mo, you've grown your business na. And then, yeah, maybe you can hire an accountant, you can help you work with this tool, no? It's a tool talaga eh. It's a tool.
Yeah.
The good thing about it is it was really catered for small businesses and self-employed individuals because most of us start there, yeah. Diba? We all start in that ganong scenario, no? Parang gusto ko, what if pagkakitaan ko to? Diba? Yun lagi.
Yeah.
What if gawin ko to? No? So we always start with that kind of framework because it's something that you love doing, diba?
Yeah.
And you want to grow it. So, yon. So we're there with you each step of the way until you grow your business.
Ayun.
So, mind if I share the screen para they can
Sure.
see the dashboard?
Sure.
So I'll share the screen lang para they have a context on how it really works. No? So as you can see here, here is our dashboard. No? So basically, when you land here, ito agad makikita nyo with the income and expenses dashboard. You will be able to see it here. For you to start tracking your tax dues and also your income and expenses, you go to cash flow. So with cash flow, no, you can manually input your sales and expense one by one, or you can upload it in bulk. Let's say, for example, if you have your list of income and expenses now already in your sheet, you can actually practice this later on. When you sign up for a free account, upload your income and expenses here. Tapos it will generate all of it here, as you can see at the bottom. No? And then once that is the income and expenses already generated, no, then go to the tax dues. Doon na siya mag-generate what the forms that you need to file, how much does it cost. And also kanina, 'di ba, like what Miss Ginger mentioned earlier, it forecasts ahead on how much you need to pay months before. So as you can see here in percentage tax, makikita na yung tax due amount. So for the quarter 3, quarter 4, and then also on the quarter 1. So aside from
May I add pala, Zia, itong red boxes na to that you see, no, what's good about Taxumo is if you failed to file last year's tax forms, you can still do so via Taxumo. Because we were allowed by BIR to help people file their taxes at least a year before, computed na yung penalties. Kaya you'll see may 1,000 dyan because na-compute na niya yung penalties. Sometimes it goes higher. No? Kasi meron yung 3 line items for penalties. Surcharge, interest, and compromise. So normally, just to give you an idea for those na gusto malaman about penalties, no? Ang compromise fee is based on like an amount, no? So, in this case, 0 kasi siya, kaya 1,000. No? It starts at 1,000. And then, may surcharge and then interest based on the gross amount that you put in as well.
Yes.
Pero beyond 1 year, we can't accommodate na because, well, sabi ni BIR, parang we don't know kasi if nag-evade na talaga purposely yung person, diba? So allowed lang kami at least a year before.
Yes. So yun. And basically kasi if with EBIR then no, iisahin nyo pa yung forms. What forms do I need to file? Tapos kakalkalin nyo pa sa system kung ano yung mga forms, and then you have to manually input isa-isa yung mga information that you need. With this one, since it's auto-generated na, no, you just need to click on file now. Tapos answer the necessary fields that is included here, and then click on proceed. So dito nyo na at back end, you will be able to see how much yung mga compromise fees, surcharge, interest. And also, if you want, kung prepare and file, and also the best options with us is prepare, file, and pay directly na. It will, the payment or like the tax due will be remitted directly na to BIR once this is processed. So, yan. And aside from that, since yun nga, no, most likely with businesses, kapag nag-expand sila or like the business grows, the Taxumo account can also accommodate how the business grows already. What do I mean by that? Let's say, for example, from non-VAT, kailangan mo na to adjust your Taxumo account to a VAT account, diba? So what you can do is go to settings, and then you'll just adjust here yung basically the information most especially here on the taxpayers type. So if, let's say, for example, you're already a corporation, corporation mostly are VAT or like 3 million above na yung kita nila. And then you just have to click on this. And then it's adjusted now already as a VAT account. And aside from that, you can also click and select the forms that you need to file. Kanina earlier on the presentation, there's the COR or the 2303. You'll be able to see the forms that you need to file there. So you just have to click on those forms para you can adjust. Let's say, for example, wala ka namang withholding tax, you can remove the forms, or if you have, you can also add it on here. So yun. Also, on the side note then, like what Miss Bernadette mentioned then earlier, if may pwede naman na mag-asikaso of your Taxumo account, you can actually add them as a delegate. You'll just need to add their email here, and then they'll have access to go through your Taxumo account and file on your behalf. So yes, yun lang naman so far with Taxumo. Thank you.
Nice. Ayan, so Miss or Sir Sandy, what is your non-VAT ka ba or VAT? Kasi kanina, remember, meron ako slides on online sellers. So it really depends on your taxable income eh. 'Di ba? We went through that whole process of like the taxable income. So usually yon sa remittance, 'di ba sa remittance ninyo? Okay. Para lang may guide ako. Diba? Sige, later na lang. But yung sa remittance, kunwari, yung grand total niya is 35237. Di ba parang in-identify natin yung breakdown kanina. I'm sure, baka naman Bernadette, you can share naman the recording to them later on. But yun, yung mga screens kanina where we identified minus ano yung seller discount, yun yung mga parang deductible expenses ninyo. And then, the total taxable income, yun yung ipapasok natin dun sa VATable income mo later on. No? Yun. So that's why, depending on ano VAT ka ba or non-VAT ka, your entries will change there. So may ilalagay. Yeah, but then yung guide, you can like watch it again. You can watch the video again so that may guide ka.
Yeah, I'll be sending the recording to everyone who registered. So kahit hindi sila nakapunta today, they'll be getting this recording.
Yeah. Tapos normally for the 1%, 'di ba magwi-withhold na sila. If they withhold from you 1%, that it comes dapat with a 2307 form. So that 2307 form also is inputted in the yung kanina withheld taxes tab. So Taxumo, may tab doon. Tapos received. So lahat ng received 2307 forms mo, you put it there. Yeah, so may questions pa ba? So sa chat. Not yet registered. Okay. Yeah, no worries na. So, yeah. So, normally, pag retail, if you feel like you're gonna hit naman 3M, mag-VAT ka na lang. Kasi yung price mo naman, yun pa, no? A lot of these things, you need to think of now on the onset. Kasi taxes has to do also, like understanding taxes in general has something to do with your pricing as well. Kasi 'di ba kunwari VAT ka, kailangan mong patungan ng 12% eh. 'Di ba kanina I was saying may output tax ka. So yung total amount mo, patungan mo siya. Pero kung percentage tax ka, a part of it is paid already as taxes. Parang ganoon. Parang from the total amount minus 3%. Parang ganoon. So a lot of these things kasi you need to consider when you create your, let's say, projections for your financial projections, kahit na rough projections.
Actually, that's one of the things I always remind people when they ask about costing. Kahit
Yeah.
hindi ka pa registered business, magpatong ka na ng 12% for the VAT. And
Correct.
then you already consider hiring an accountant, at least man lang parang the retainer fees for accounting firms or whatever that you will hire under your OPEX. Kasi
Yes.
mahirap mag-adjust ng SRP in the future. Magtataka yung customer agad parang, uy, 15% yung tinaas mo. bakit, 'di ba? So it's
Yeah.
hard to explain to clients na hindi ako registered dati. 'Di ba? Hindi mo pwede
Oo,
sabihin 'yan eh, 'di ba?
exactly. Kaya
So,
ngayon, 'di ba, ang hirap na, like with this
yeah.
1%, kailangan na eh. Kailangan na
Yeah.
because the platforms will report na eh.
Right,
And not
right.
report you because may galit sila sa inyo, no? But
Yeah.
report you because they're mandated to report
Yeah.
you, 'di ba? So,
Correct, correct.
so ngayon, nahihirapan yung mga sellers because they need to adjust, backtrack from the
Yeah.
beginning, like what
Yeah.
their pricing is.
Correct, correct.
Yung
Yeah.
consultation session, CJ, sa Taxumo Consult, it's 1.5 for 45 minutes. So list down all of your questions already and then ask the CPA na para at least they'll clarify everything na with you.
Siguro, Ginger or Trisha, if you guys can send or put in the chat box an email address where they can also contact if they have any questions pa. Or dito na yan, sa CPA consultation na ba?
Sa customer care pwede rin.
Sige.
Yung
Oo.
sa customer care, ang sasagot sa inyo are customer service representatives. So if you have questions about the platform,
Yeah.
you talk to them. But if these are like questions that are more obviously CPA related questions na you'll know na mahirap, na hindi naman masasagot ng customer service, go to consult.
Okay. Ayan. It's 12:10.
Yes.
Thank
So
you. Thank
I
you.
hope you all learned like a thing or two, kahit hindi everything, no?
Overwhelmed sila eh.
Baka you can like send an emoji or whatever sa chat box. Para lang ayan, thank you so much. Thank you, Stefan. Super
Ayan.
helpful.
I hope it pretty much gave a bit of clarification with what you guys need to do in terms of compliance, BIR compliance. Medyo sa start siguro nakakalito, but once you get the groove of it, ano na siya, magiging routine na siya sa inyo.
Yes.
Yeah.
And there are a lot of very interesting articles, videos. We have TikTok, we have YouTube. So if you want to like watch videos, no, go to Taxumo. We share it naman on Facebook, siguro and Instagram, Zia, no, we do. And we also have a blog, no. So yeah, look at those videos, watch those videos and all.
Yes.
Sige.
And
Thank you,
also,
everybody.
don't
Yes, go.
forget, when you sign up with us, you'll get 10% off subscription pala. So don't forget to sign up with us and then try it out later. And then eventually, if you decide na, okay, ready na ako mag-subscribe, then you can use the 10% off. It's a gift from us to you guys.
May ano ba yun? May discount code?
Yes. I'll
Okay.
send it over in your email. So,
sige.
abang na lang po kayo in your emails. Yeah.
All right. Can we take a class picture? Class picture?
Yay!
Class picture.
Class picture. Para naman makita namin yung mga faces ng mga
Baka ayaw nila.
at
May
saka
hanapin sila ng
mga,
Yan, sige, game. Actually, majority of them, ngayon ko lang nakita ulit ang mga mukha.
Kasi di ba nag-pandemic? Tapos, hi!
Yes. Hello. Ayan. 1 minute for everybody to... Baka may mag-makeup pa. Magta-touch up pa. Hindi na kailangan. Mga maganda at pogi na tayo.
Hindi na kailangan.
Ayan.
I thank you po. Interested in Taxumo once I am BIR registered.
Actually,
Looking
ako rin eh.
forward good on your journey po with us.
Yung sa isang business ko, baka.
Yes.
Oo.
Hope you can spread the word also.
Yes, of course. Ayan, sige. Let's take our class picture. Class picture talaga yun, no? May test ba mamaya? Ayan, sige. 1, 2, 3, smile. Isa pa. Safety shot. Sabi ng daddy ko. Ayan. 1, 2, 3. Ayan. Okay, thank you everyone.
All right. Thanks.
Thanks,
Bye.
Ginger. Thanks, Taxumo team.
For sure.
Salamat.
Happy weekend.
Happy weekend.
Happy weekend.